So this video is a bit of a departure from my other videos, and it stems from a conversation I overheard today about a coworker who kind of felt bad that he was living at home, being in his mid-20s, and I think this is specifically an American mindset. I don't think anyone in other parts of the world think this way. But there's this, a weird perspective that if you're an adult, and by adult in America it means 18 or over, if you are 18 and over and living with your parents, then there's this weird stigma that you've done something wrong or you're not doing enough in life. And I don't understand where this stigma comes from and why people keep it alive. I think there's a huge difference between women living at home and men living at home. I am 31 years old and I still live with my parents. And it's also cultural. I don't know if this mindset is primarily within the white American communities, because I know in a lot of Latin American communities, like I'm Mexican, and I don't really feel a stigma to feel ashamed that I'm still living at home with my parents, because I'm just like, why am I gonna leave if I'm not married? I feel like if you're engaged to someone or about to marry someone, yeah, it makes sense to move outside the house. But even in other Asian cultures, I think Indians, their families, their generations live in one household even if they're married, and it makes no sense for them to leave because that's how they are. But I think for guys it's completely different, because there's still this weird what's the word I'm looking for? What is the word I'm looking for? Stereotype that all men need to be able to provide for their families or provide for themselves, or not in a sense to where they need to live on their own, but a paycheck is a paycheck, and if you're being smart about it and living with your parents and saving up for maybe when you do get married or you move to a city or a different state or a different country, you have all that money saved up because you used the things around you to your advantage. And I don't know why more people don't do this. Obviously, you shouldn't take advantage of your family members, or in the rare instances, it's friends who you're able to stay with or live with. And as long as you're contributing to the household, buying groceries, cooking, cleaning, all that stuff, I don't understand why more people don't do this and why there is a continued stigma around it, because it just makes financial sense to me to save as much money as possible in this economy. And probably it's going to get worse 10, 20 years down the line. I don't know how housing is going to be 10, 20 years down the line, but if I were to get a studio apartment here in the Bay Area, it would be about more than 50% of my paycheck per month. So I would be down 50%. So I would only be taking home 50% of what I make right now living with my parents. And that's if I get something like in a low income neighborhood pricing. If I just get a regular studio apartment, that's like $1,200, $1,500 per month. That's more than 50% of my paycheck. I don't make a lot. And what I do save up, it's significant compared to what I would lose having an apartment on my own. So I guess what I'm trying to say is to any adults out there, especially young adults who just finished high school or coming out of college, don't let anyone or society or the country you live in tell you to feel ashamed, to feel like you failed at life because you're living at home with your parents. I would say switch it up and see it as a positive, as a financial positive. Sorry for all the crows. I'm at the park right now. And you kind of just got to ask yourself, is it better to live as an adult, and I'm saying adult in quotes here, in that you live on your own, you pay for all your expenses on your own, and you struggle? Or do you, I would say, just going forward, don't take it too, don't put too much pressure on yourself if you're still at home, and just know that there are like a lot of cultures out there where kids stay at home until they get married, or even after they get married they still stay at home, take care of their parents. Like, there's so many different factors going into why people continue to stay at home and don't feel ashamed about it. I would say in America, it's financially smart to live with family as much as you can while saving up for your own house, for your own apartment, for your own car. Everything's expensive. Why take the risk to struggle just because some people out there see it as a bad thing that you're an adult living with your parents or living at home, whatever that means. Home could be your grandparents, your uncle, aunt, etc. You too, Draco? Oh my god. Also, if I didn't live at home with my parents, I wouldn't have these two guys. I wouldn't be able to, you know, pay rent, pay all my expenses, and still afford these two good dogs. I think in like the past year, I spent, you know, my dad and I spent around like $5,000 on these guys for their emergency expenses. So yeah, there's a lot of things going into why living at home is beneficial, specifically financially beneficial. So I guess this is a long-winded way of saying that next time someone kind of tries to put you down for living at home or living with your parents, etc., don't feel so bad, you know. Tell them, why should I struggle like everyone else when I could, you know, be happy, be content, and just happen to live at home. I think I covered it. It wasn't the most poetic way of talking about this subject, but yeah, you guys all got the gist of it. You guys ready? You ready to go? You're done rolling around? Yes? Okay, let's go.